our heading. Someone has sat down, formed the code for us, and all we just need to do is copy and paste, So I've copied that. Then if we go into here, so we can use a blank query under get data. One of the options there is blank query. Blank query meaning empty query. It is blank, it is empty, okay? And within Power Query Editor, queries are the same as tables. So it's like saying blank table, okay? So that has been formed and we see it as query 2. And we see that it opened us to, it brought us into Power Query part of Power BI, okay? So don't forget that we have already copied the table code already. So then we will go into what we call the advanced editor. Okay, let me hide this. We go into the advanced editor, which is under home. So under home, we come to the advanced editor. We open this up. Okay, so I click on that and the advanced editor is open. This is where all of the codes, all of the apply steps are stored as code, as your code within a Power Query Editor. So I'm going to paste over everything here. Okay, so I'm pasting everything that I've copied from the date table code. And we did say that it's even obvious that what you can see here is dates related. Okay, you can see end dates, even if we don't completely understand, the whole scenario that's happening here. We can see end date, start date, duration. As you go through each of the lines, you can see year number. You can see day of month, quarter. These are all codes to form the different columns that we will later see. Okay, and it's very important to look at this side where it has a green tick and it's saying no syntax errors have been detected. If there is any error, for example, this comma here, let's take it out. This comma here is not present. Immediately I took that comma out. Can you see it says token expected, and if I say show where the token is expected, it's coupled to highlight here, but this is exactly where that comma got removed from. I put it back and it's seen the correction. Okay, so this is what we expect to see. If that is not ticked as green, then there's a problem within the code. Again, like I said, everything that's been typed here is not really our business. We have it, we just copy paste, use it. Okay, so our lives have been made simple. Okay, so I come here and I click on done. Okay, and immediately it brings us to these parameters here where we start to enter, we are prompted to enter the start date, the end date, and the financial year start month. Okay, so you choose your date. Within our own current data set that we are using, the data set started from, I think, 2nd of February, 2018. Okay, so my start dates would be according to the data set I'm working with. Okay, that will determine what my dates would be. And the end date within that, this data set is also February. So I'll just put 28, end of February, 2021 or 2022. Can't remember. Okay, but it doesn't affect us either way. Okay, and then it's asking for the financial year start month. Most of the time, it's April for most countries. Some countries is January. Okay, so you need to know which one your company uses. So I'll go with the popular one, which is 4 because it's April. Okay, and it says here to invoke. So all of this, we need to invoke it. Okay. We invoke that and voila, we have all of our date table made for us with all of the columns that we may need. Any column that's here that you don't need, you can come and take them out. Okay, of course we need the date. And to check what we have done is right, we see the first date that was the start date that we use is 2nd of February 2018. If I sort that descending, okay, and I decide to go sort descending, we see the last dates. I put 28, but it's gone on to leave it as 27 for whatever reason. So 27th of February 2022, is what I have there. I'll remove the sort, okay. Again, if you look in the formula bar where it says query 2, the name of the table, it quotes the start date and then the end date. Okay, starting from year, month, date, year, month, date, and then the financial year, the start year as 4, right there. Okay, then we scroll to the right and we see each of the columns. Year is needed, quarter is needed, month is needed, month number, day. So whatever you don't need, you can always remove. We know how to remove. For example, this dates date int, which combines the year, the month, and the dates. It just integrates everything without any separator between them. Okay, you may want to use that as maybe an ID, but if it's not going to serve any purpose within your report, I'm just gonna pick on it, right click, and then I remove it. Of course you need your month. Again, it says month name. If I don't want that to be month name, if I want it to be month, I'm just gonna double click on that and correct that to just month. Okay, instead of month name. If you want month and year, this is calling this month in calendar, but I would rather call this month and year because it's combining month and year. Okay, so I'll correct that, and I'll have month and year. Where's the and button and year? Okay, so that does it better for me, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the essence of repeating this is just to capture this for us to be reminded, because I believe we've done it before. We made a date table for this data set already, but we made this one just for the purpose of having how to do it, how to use that code, on recording or on record. Okay, and we will need to rename that invoked function. It doesn't sound like something that really carries the name of the right name for this table. So I'm just gonna call it date. Okay, and that does it. Okay. Do we understand that, everyone? Do we understand that's what I've just shown?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so and if we don't, when by the time you watch the recording, you watch it back, you would just follow it step by step, and you'll be fine. Okay, well, it's either we did.
Sorry, just a question for me.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, sometimes when you're working on date and you want to create a chart, um, you will most times you will like to have it in the short form. Do we have the short form here?
Yes, I believe so. Let me see. So if I scroll, yes, short year, 2018.
No, the month. We don't
Um,
have, you
I think
know,
we do. Let me
yeah,
see. Because this, if we don't, then we'll form it.
yeah.
Uh,
So because most
Like
times when you
February,
put your
F,
month in the
yeah.
axis, that
Mm,
February, having everything to come, it will be too much. So
yes.
most times we intend to use the triple M, which is the MMM. So we could just add that one and
On
put
the side, Abby.
yeah, as part of it, because when we use that in the chart to create our visual, it comes out better than using the whole.
The long name.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Mr. Azim is saying is that this month, that's the only month column that we have, and they are all completely spelt. Okay. And sometimes you may want to have January as just JAN, February as FEB, March as MAR, just to when you use it in the charts, just to make it more concise, more properly well put together. So he's suggesting that we have another column, we create another column where we have that like short month, just like what you have here. You see where you have month and year. If I scroll down here, you see April here, APR, and so on. I think we can quickly form that, and that would even give us a chance to see another function in Power BI, in Power Query. Okay, so I'm going to use this. There's a method he suggested, but I'm not using that. I'm going to use extract. I'm going to extract because there's a pattern looking at this month and year. All of the first three letters, are the first three letters of each month. All of it's uniform for everything here. Okay. So we have the first three letters of each month and then the year. Okay, so because that is uniform, there's a clear pattern. Because of that, I can easily extract. Okay, and because I want to extract into a new column, so the function I want to do or perform is going to add an extra column. I'm going to do that using the add column function. Okay, so we haven't done much in Power Query yet because this is for this current onboarding. This is our first project that we newly started. Okay, but very quickly, I want us to note that under transform and add column, we have functions that are very similar, that work the same way. Okay, but if you perform a function under transform, okay, it will change that original column. For example, what I mean is if I do this, so under transform, I'm trying to extract the first three letters from this column. So I look for extract, which is here. This is extract here. And I click on the drop down because I'm trying to extract something from each of the rows in this column. Okay, so I've got all these options: length, first characters, last characters, range, text before delimiter, text after delimiter, text between delimiters. So I've got different options here that I can use. Already I've established that I want to extract only the first three letters. Okay, and there is either length. Okay, let's see how length works. If I click on length, oh, sorry, length is only giving me counting the total length of characters in each word, in each row. For example, February, just Feb is three characters. Then there's a space, that's a fourth character. Then there's 2, that's 5. There's 0, 6. There's 1, 7, and then there is 8 characters. So each of the words that we have here are 8 characters. That's what the length stands for. It helps you to count the characters, the number of characters that you have in each row. But if I were to extract the first with using the first characters, it's asking me that extract first characters. Enter how many starting characters to keep. How many starting characters do I want to keep? I've already established that I want to keep the first 3. Okay. So if I do okay there, you see, what it has done is it's removed everything apart from the first 3 characters. Okay. So this, if I load more, this works for me. So we have April, we have August, we have December, we have February, we have each of the months represented, here. So this is what we are trying to achieve. That works. Okay. But it only works if I don't need February 28th, 2018, if I don't need a column that must combine the short month as well as the year, then I'm fine. But if I don't want this column to disappear and I just want an extra column that actually gives me the result I'm looking for, okay, then I won't be doing it under this extract characters. I won't be doing it under transform. I would be doing it under add column, because I want to retain this column and I want my answer, my result to still be present. Okay. Now under add column, we can still see that there is extract there. And if I click on length, it has gone on to add length as an extra column instead of doing it the way it did it before. If I come back to that, where is it? Month and year. You see, this is retained. This month and year column is retained. Unlike before when we did that, this particular column was changed. So this is retained, but the answer that is needed is then added to the end of the table as an extra column. So anytime you need an extra column for the answer you need, you do it under add column. But if you don't mind changing that original column, you perform that function under transform column. I hope we get that. Okay, I'm going to remove this last step because we don't need length. What we actually need is the first 3 letters to form our short month. We could have done it using this as well, but I just feel it's easier, using something that's already very close to the answer. So first 3 characters is what I'm going to do. 3. And then it adds that as an extra column. Okay, so like we saw before, we have our month and year. Still, nothing's happened to that column. And using that column, we have formed the result that we desire. And it's gone on to name it first characters for us. Okay. And if it's always good to check, okay, just a kind of validation, just to be sure that actually you are right when you use that logic, that actually, okay, everywhere has the first 3 characters that you need have been gotten for you. Now we can't leave the name of this column as first characters, because that doesn't really depict it properly. Okay, so we'll change that to short month. Okay, short month, and that is that. Immediately I added short month, we saw renamed column. So that extra step was added here. One thing I need to let us tell us, we are still new to the use of Power BI, most of us, or some of us. Okay. The more steps you add on to under your apply steps, the more steps you perform, the longer it would take for your Power BI to refresh and to load. Because with each step, you add extra work for it to do each time you are refreshing or you are opening the Power BI up, because it has to quickly scan through all these steps up to the last step each time you are opening and each time you are refreshing. Okay, so the fewer you can make these steps, where you can, sometimes it's not possible, but where you can, the fewer you can make these steps, the better. Okay, so when I added this last step, renamed columns, right? What I could have done to make it more efficient is I'll remove this step. What I could have done, and that would come with practice, okay, is I could have come here where it says first characters. I could just come in here within the double quotes there, the speech quotes here. I'm just going to remove first characters and put short month. Okay, and I'll commit that. Okay, and you know that changed it for us without adding that extra step here. Okay, when I did it before, you saw that extra step that I removed, renamed column. So again, what I've done now, you will start to learn to do the more you get used to working within Power Query Editor or within Power BI. You know, but the earlier we learn these things, the better for us. Okay. The difference between the first step and this second step is that one is more efficient than the other. Now, the way I've changed the name of the column within here is more efficient because I did not add an extra step, you know, on here. Okay, we spent quite a bit of time on that. I'm going to, no, I don't want to load this table. So any table that you don't want to delete and you don't want to load, you don't want to delete it, but you don't want to load it into Power BI when you close this Power Query Editor. What you do is you right click, you know, and when you right click, we've seen this before, there's different options there, different functions that you can choose. Where it says enable load is ticked, but I will untick it, okay? I would untick it, meaning that I've just disabled it from loading. Can you see that tick is not there anymore? So, and you can see that it's gone on, it's not boldly written anymore. It's now gone into like it's been done as an like italicized or italics. Okay, so this means this second date table is not going to load when we load and apply. So let's load, close and apply that. And then we wait for the changes that have been made. Yes, we wait for that to get done. I'm just going to quickly save whatever changes that we have made so that this is newly saved. Again, let's always constantly remember that Power BI doesn't have an autosave. So you have to constantly save your work on the go. I believe yesterday or the day before was when we talked really well about the different data models, the star schema and the snowflakes. We are currently working with the star schema. Remember that yesterday we made a table where we are keeping our measures. Now this doesn't get to be part of the model because it's just it's a virtual table. Not virtual table. It's housing calculations that are virtual. This measures, the way measures work, measures are not, they are floating. They are not like, it's not like they are massively physically present. They are there, but they are not there. They are there when you need them, when you need to use them. That's why they are called measures, okay? But unlike your table, your original table with all these all these columns, like these computer sales, the way that your sales, all of the sales in this column, all of the profits in this column, all of the costs and other quantity and so on in this column, the way they are physically present as tables and they are occupying space and adding to the load, that is not how your measures are doing. Your measures have a different characteristics. It's like compare yourself with when you are physically present in the office. Compare that to when you are working from home and you are just attending a virtual meeting. That's exactly what measures do. They are like you attending a virtual meeting. You are there, but you are not physically in the office. Okay, so that's why measures are quite very flexible. That's why we need them. They are quite very flexible. Sometimes you may need to add columns to your original tables, all these tables here, for whatever reason. Okay, for example, you know, when Mr. Azim said that for our date table, why don't we add the short month? We could have actually come here to do that. We
You are
didn't.
fluctuating.
That's my network. Can we hear me well now?
Yeah. Most of the things you are saying, we can hear it.
Okay, what
Yes,
and
it's
what
off
have,
and on.
is it
I
very bad?
think it might be from your end because it
Good
was
morning,
clear.
because I can hear everything clearly.
It was clear from my side.
Okay, Saturday is, it looks like it's your network, ma.
Okay.
Okay, so I was saying that we could have easily come here to actually make that short month table column, the short month that we did. Okay, I didn't load the table. The short month that we did. Okay, actually, let's do it here. Actually, okay. Remember, we made a table that I did not load. I refused to load out of stubbornness. Okay. Now we don't have that short month, and we need the short month. Okay. The way that we have calculated all these measures, okay, when we were calculating profit margin, we, like you would do in Excel, but in Power BI, we call it DAX, data analysis expression. That's the kind of formula that we use, okay? We just call up the function, okay, and call up either the measures that's already created that we will use to make the calculation or other columns. The first few ones we did, we summed up for total sales, we summed up all of the sales column within our computer sales table. For profit, we already have a profit column. We sum that up as well. Okay. But when we were gonna create the profit margin, we used measures that were already created. We used total profit, which is a measure we created, and total sales, which is also a measure that we created. I can't remember the term that is used when you reuse measures. There's a term for it, but I can't remember, and I've even forgotten to check it up. Okay. So, but in that way, there's something called calculated column. Okay. Calculated columns are physically present, unlike measures. I've explained to you the concept of measures. When you are attending a virtual meeting, you are like a measure, okay, because you are not physically present. But if I decide that within the computer sales table, or better still, the date table now, let's say that actually we need to have a month that is short month. Within this particular date table, we didn't create short month in it. We created short month in the one that I didn't load. But we got here. I don't want to go back into Power Query. I want to make it here. And I want the column to actually to occupy a space here, to be a column within this date. Okay. So something similar to how we created the measure, Okay. Remember that when we were creating the measure, we hover on the table where you want the measure to stay. Right now, we won't call it measure anymore because what we're about to create is not a measure. So but we still click on the 3 dots. Yesterday, we used new measure. Today, we'll use what we call new column. And this is how you calculate, you do your calculated column. So there's measures and there's calculated column. And for an interview question, you might be asked, what's the difference between your measure and a calculated column? Okay, and that's the difference. Measures are virtual calculations that float around. They don't add any physical weight to your model, to your data table, to your model actually, to your data set, to your Power BI report. They don't add any millibytes or megabytes or gigabytes or whatever. They don't add that to it, okay? But if I'm to create a new column now, that would actually sit physically within a table. That is a physical calculation. Okay, it will now, this is now like you going into the office to present yourself physically. Okay, that is what calculated columns are. So, and that's the difference between a measure, which is a virtual calculation, and a calculated column, which is an actual column that is physically present within a table in your report. I hope that makes sense. And you can see that immediately I clicked on calculated column, this became a thing. It actually formed a column, and it's just expecting me to give it call the calculation up, use DAX. Again, we know that data analysis expression, DAX, DAX, is the language of the mathematical calculations within Power BI. Okay, so short month. Short month, how do we normally form a month from dates? If we are to form this from a date, what do you think we should do? Short month equals. People who have used Excel, it's not very different from Excel, I don't think. I don't think what we are doing here is different from how you would normally create how you would normally create a month from, and Mr. Azim even said it earlier, how would you create a month from a date? Oh yeah, help. Oh.
Okay, so we can use because what we want to create now, it's not, so if we use month, it will return number. So for this purpose, we need it as a text.
Yes.
So we use what we call the format function.
Okay.
So we'll format, when we use the format, then we call up the column, the month column. Where's that?
Dates. Are we using
Of
the
the
date
date. We
column?
can call the date. Yeah, we can call the date. That is that one.
Okay.
Then we comma to close that. Then the format. So we write MMM in quotes, in double quote, because it's a strange text.
So we use 3 M's.
3M. So depending, if you want it to be 4, you can use 4M's, but most times we don't need that comma again. So we just close the bracket.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should work.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So if you increase the M to 4, you will see. So depending,
if
I
we
think
put
we
it to
use
4,
4. Let's see. Let's see what that 4
it would
does.
fully, it will
Pull everything.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. All right. So that is perfect. That is one way to do it. I think we can use text as well. is it possible to use the text function in Power BI like you would normally do in
I most times it's format and value that I've used.
that you use?
I'm not sure about that text, but we could
Okay.
try it if it works.
Okay, no problem at all. But yeah, that is how. This is how we create a new column. Okay, if you don't want to do it in Power Query, it is doable in Power BI using simple DAX formulas. Okay, and for our DAX formula so far, we have used the sum function when we calculated our total sales. We have used the divide function when we did our profit margin. And now within the dates table, when we created a short month, we have used the format function. You can see how this is just like they're just saying format the dates column within this table into, and then you put, if it is year that you want to bring out from that date, Y. If it is the day, D, as well. Just like I believe that's how it's done in Excel as well, but just with the text function. And you can also see that our calculated column has an icon beside it, like an F of X within a calculator, something like that, just to show us that it is a calculated column, okay? Compared to month number, which which has got a summation sign there, a sigma sign there, okay? And compared to all the measures that we have created already, which have got calculators beside them. So there's a distinct icon that each of these different functions, there is an icon that they carry that helps you, to understand what they are. The dates column within our dates table, we can see that is a calendar icon beside it, okay? The year, because we formatted the year as whole number, that is why it's got that E, that's sort of E, but not E, which is a sigma sign or summation sign, okay? Okay. So today we've managed to recap how to create dates from our dates table. We've managed to see an example on how to do your calculated column, what it is, difference between a calculated column and a measure. I believe if I ask you tomorrow by Friday that you are at an interview and you're asked, okay, you're going to be using Power BI. Tell us, what's the difference between a measure and a calculated column? It's very common interview question for a Power BI related interview. So I would implore us to research more and grab a good answer, an answer that you will be able to explain well yourself. Okay, that would be really great. Apart from that, we haven't added more to. Oh, I did promise, so I forgot. No, I didn't forget. ChatGPT was not giving me an answer. You know how I said that I would call up, tell ChatGPT what we're trying to create to give us an image that we can put here as our landing page, something nice and that looks professional, not just me inserting a text here to introduce what this report is about to people, but something that's eye-catchy. That's why we left this as a homepage or landing page. And we decided that this page will be the overview page. And yesterday we managed to create our KPI cards. That is all we've done so far. And we do have our, okay, I think I might have closed it, but there was the objectives, okay? The objectives, I think the next question we're supposed to answer is a comparison. We were meant to compare between product subcategory sales between all the product subcategories and the countries. That was question number 2. We want to see which countries gave the highest sales and which product subcategories gave us the highest sales. That's what we were meant to go into, okay? Now we have the total sales, okay? And we are comparing. Comparison analysis uses charts like column chart or bar chart, okay? And because it's going to be quick, if not, I will stop the class now, but this is quick. So I'm just going to click on the total sales and I will go to the product subcategory table and pick the product subcategories, you know, and we can easily see without much ado there, we can see the product subcategory that is giving the highest sales is the camcorders, followed by the projects and screens, followed by laptops. The top three we can easily see as the first three there. And that's why this is called a comparison analysis, okay? Because you can easily compare between the categories, okay? And very easily, the second kind of a chart we can use for comparing is the column charts, okay? It also gives us a good comparison. Again, if I quickly go into the total sales and I go into the region, the countries to see, so the country, okay, this gives region. Country, we didn't bring out the countries, okay, but I'll pick the countries within here very quickly because we don't have much time left. And wow, look at that. United States by far, the United States is the highest one country there that's giving the most sales. And you see that. Okay, never mind about my arrangements just yet. We've not arranged anything just yet, but look at that. So it's the United States, then China, and the difference between the first and the next one, the second one is so massive. Then we have, yeah, so it's United States, China, Germany, possibly France, United Kingdom, and the rest. Okay, so we can easily see at a glance without you explaining these charts to anyone. Anyone looking at this can see the ratio, the proportion at which sales have been divided by product subcategory and by country. Okay, very quickly. I'm going to save that and we will carry on from there tomorrow. Let's not forget that I said that we'll do a bit of a show and tell on Friday and